Hey there, Home Care CEO. Tonight, I am talking to you about how to start a home care business in the great state of California. Come on in because I have so much to share that you probably have not seen or heard on any other platform. Thanks so much. Hey guys, and let me make sure I put, how are you guys doing? Hey, Healthcare Ninja. We're talking about how to start a home care business in California. Make sure I post that. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for joining. Hey, if this is your first time joining me, then thank you so much. And please, don't be a stranger. First, let me know where you are watching me from. Let me know what city or state you're watching me from. And we are going to share so much. Hey, Tammy, how are you? We're gonna share so much. Hey, L'Oreal, on how to start a home care business in the great state of California. And as you guys may or may not know, I share these things because this is information. No, you would not be. Oh, hey, you just so happen to be in California. Thanks for asking. I will do Virginia again. This is information that you probably have been searching for online and you haven't been able to send in New Jersey your way. Okay, yeah, I'm currently working with 2 people in New Jersey right now, and I actually have 2 people that have successfully passed the home care application process. So thank you so much in advance. I will do Virginia again. And like I said, you probably have been looking for this information. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this broadcast is because we have a recent update and I like to share. Yes, I can share with you from Michigan. Michigan is actually a really, really easy state. I am Shauna. I will definitely share that with you. It's a non-regulated state, so it will be extremely easy for you to get licensed there. So, but tonight we're going to talk about California. And I really want to uncover a few things. So one of the things I'm going to make sure I got some good lighting. One of the things, Maryland. Yep, I've done Maryland recently. Actually, Maryland is still on my YouTube channel. So one of the things that I'm going to talk about tonight in this broadcast is, about the application, like uncovering the mystery of the application. If it seems so hard to you, let me make it less complicated. Let me break down the requirements for the state of California. I'm gonna do that for you. Then we're gonna go over what are the top cities. So right now there are 60 top cities. What that means is these cities, if you're in these cities or around these cities, you have a really high chance of being extremely successful in starting your home care business, right? Then we're going to go over what are the top 10 diseases that have been actually documented by the California Department of Health. These are the conditions that people are experiencing in that state, right? Those are the conditions that your home care agency will be able to help someone out or help their family member out with. So basically, you're in business to solve a problem. Home care agencies, thank you so much for the hearts. We're in business to solve one main issue. You may think it's home care, you may think it's skilled care, but really we're in the stress relief business. We relieve stress from the family caregiver who can't stay up late at night. So we provide alert and awake caregivers or nurses. We relieve stress by providing a skilled caregiver or nurse to care for a sick child or a medically fragile child or an aging adult. We actually relieve stress. You're a stress relief. Have you ever thought about it like that? Your stress relief. You just so happen to be functioning as a nurse, functioning as a caregiver, but that's your main area, is that you're a stress relief. So if I can offer you anything tonight, market your service as I'm here to help. I'm here to relieve that. I'm here to take that off your plate. Let me not get into marketing. You guys know how I get. So before we start, hey, Amber, thanks so much for joining. My mentee Amber just got licensed. So let's cheer him on. Let's give him some hearts and celebrate him tonight on his journey. I posted him in the stories. Yeah. And so happy to see when one of my home care mentees or just another home care CEO is successful in general. So although I know you guys are going to ask me so many questions, I want to try to stay focused with this topic of how to get licensed in the state of California. Okay, so if you guys are ready, I want to do a little quick poll. If you are already an existing home care agency owner, meaning you have a license like my mentee, like my buddy Amber, give me the number 1. If you are an existing home care CEO, give me the number 1. If you are a soon-to-be, you on your way to becoming a home care CEO, give me the number 2. So 1, if you're an existing home care CEO, and hey, thanks for joining, Dr. Ellen. Thanks for give me the number 2, right? So I can know where we are. And while you guys are doing that, I don't know what's going on with this lighting. Okay, 2. All right, thanks so much we got some existing home care CEOs on here. I want to just let you go. Yes, Maureen, existing home care CEOs. I want to let you guys know that I started my home care business back in 2000. What is going on with this light? 2006. 2006, I started a skilled home care agency. I am not a nurse, never been a nurse, never been a caregiver, never been a home health aide, never been a CNA, never been an LPN, never been an RN. But God saw it fit for me to start a medical skilled home care agency. How did I do that? I had a business mentor, and so this is why I recommend that you get a home care business mentor too. It is all the difference between, this is my other screen, it's all the difference between me starting and growing my business to the tune of 7 figures within 2 years, within a 2-year period. And if I can do it, guys can do it too. I only had 13 clients at 2 years, and I was generating $3.3 million in revenue. If I can do it, you can do it too. You have more resources, and hey, you have me telling you some things that you can do so that you can avoid my mistakes. I'm telling you first how to get started in California. So let's just start out with the most I would say, what's the word? California is not as difficult as it seems to get licensed. It may seem like it is because it's such a big state. It seems like it would be such an elaborate process, but really it's a 2-step process. It's a part A and a part B. Hey, Gail, I'm so glad you're here. So what's included in part A? So if you are trying to become a non-skilled home care agency in the state of California, your agency is actually called maybe if I take it away from the light. Oh yeah, that actually worked. Your agency will actually be called a home care organization. I guess the light from my other computer was glaring. Yeah, that's probably better. Sorry for the malfunction, guys. You're actually going to be called a home care organization. So you have the application that you would complete, and generally the application is pretty simple. You're going to include your business information, like your business name. You're going to include what kind of business are you, if you are a for-profit or nonprofit, if you're an LLC or INC, you're going to include all that information. Now, they actually don't ask you for stuff like what's your EIN number. That's the employer tax ID number that you would get from the IRS. They actually don't ask you stuff like that, but they will ask you for, good news to you, director, as well. They will ask you for information like, what is your, who are the owners? They want to know who are the owners. This is a big deal that comes up on a lot of state applications. Again, I don't know what's going on with the lighting, but we're going to work it out. A lot of state applications, because they want to make sure that someone that maybe was license got revoked or suspended is not trying to sneak in under the guise of a corporation and try to get back in the system per se. So they're going to ask you who are the owners, and that's why most of the time they do want a copy of your articles of incorporation, right? Because when you submit your articles of incorporation, even if you did not detail, in this fine print that someone has a 5% interest, mostly they're looking for someone who has a 5% interest or more. And so you would have to list their name, their address, and basically their role in your company on that document. So you complete the home application for the home care organization. Then it asks for the licensee's application. So I could be an owner, but the licensee could be someone else. Like I could be the administrator that's hired that's completing that application. So they want that person's application. Then they want what's called a designation of home care organization responsibilities. This is pretty much who is going to be in charge. Let me explain that. So let's say you have a INC, you're incorporated, and generally with an incorporation, the board is in charge. So they want you to designate that, got all of these things going on my screen. They want you to designate that there is an agency manager, there is an administrator, there is someone in charge that may not be the owner, that they will address if they ever have to come in and do an unannounced visit, or who is over the general responsibility of the agency. And that person should have received designated authority from the upper ups, the president, the board of the owner, the board of directors. So that's basically what that means. And there's an easy way to do that. It's called something else in other states. They may say, write a policy on your governing bodies or the responsibilities of the administrator. I've seen it listed in different ways, but basically that is what they mean. Again, we're still on part A. They want you to have a limited liability insurance policy, and partnership. They want to, let me see, make sure they don't have the limits here. They have the limits here. Oh no, that's if you have a partnership or you have an LLC. They have a separate form that you have to submit if you have an LLC. So another requirement in Part A is a home care dishonesty bond. So what does that mean? There are a few states that will require you to have bond insurance. So for the bond insurance, you have to, sometimes it's like $10,000. Other places it's like, it can be up to $50,000. Does that mean you're paying $50,000? No, it's almost like having an auto insurance policy, and it's saying this is the coverage for that amount. What that means is they believe that the residents in California are well-to-do, And just so happen your caregiver goes into one of your clients' homes, and now all of a sudden they're missing their heirloom pearls. Now all of a sudden they can't find their Rolex watch. Well, and it's their word against yours. It's the client's word against what the caregiver is saying, what the agency is saying, and we just can't prove it. Well, you know what? Now you have this bond, and I am going to require that that I get compensated for my for my loss, or my belief of a loss from this particular bond. And so the good thing about it is that they can't ask for anything more higher than this bond. So even if they say, oh, that was worth $100,000, if the requirement is 50, that's all they get. So it is a good surety, even if your state does not require a dishonesty bond, or in other states they just call it bond insurance. It is a really good thing to have if you are a non-medical home care agency. Why? Because you should anticipate that you're going to have private pay clients, and with those private pay clients, they are going to have some nice things. Sorry, I moved the screen again because it's just like driving me crazy the way it looks, what it's doing right now. They're going to have some nice things. Lastly, going back to your business structure, you are required to have what's called a board of directors statement. And again, every person that is a board of director, they want them listed. They want them listed on their form that you will submit. So if there was any changes, guess what? You have to submit a new form. And guess what? That's part A. That's part A. So you're like, oh, that's it. That's part A. So when I did a post the other day, I actually said that for California, the requirements are that you complete part A and part B. But guess what? Even though I'm like doing everything for part A and I'm separating them in a sense, because part A is the application. You can't submit part A and part B, which I am about to share with you separately. So now part B gets into some of the details of your agency. They want a job description for each position. So some states will say, I only want a job description for people who are working in the field, or who is a direct care worker, but they want a job description for each position. So the best thing I would recommend that you do is to do like an organizational chart, and in an organizational chart, just have a job description, a simple job description that is attached to each position that you do have or will potentially have in your organization. Of course, you should have an agency manager or an administrator. It's what they're traditionally called. You may want to have a job description for a office manager. You would have a job description for a bookkeeper. You can have a job description for like a file clerk or a clinical assistant. That's someone that may be in charge of your clinical records. Then you would have a job description for, of course, your workers. Your home health aides, your home service worker, if you're in the state of Illinois, for your CNAs, your certified nursing assistants, and I said schedulers, and that's pretty much it. If you're starting a nursing agency, then it will be for your LPN and your RN and your RN supervisor. So actually, you do need some kind of field supervisor job description too. So that is one of the first requirements on Part B. You need to have job descriptions. Next, you need to have personnel policies. Now, I'm going to go over some of the personnel policies that are required. I'll make sure I got so many tabs open, so I'll go back to some of that. Personnel policies. Now, they have specific ones that are required for the state of California. So if you're not familiar with what personnel policies would include, you need to make sure they're genuinely in most states, and I mean all 51 50, is it 50 or 51 states, you're going to need to have a criminal background check policy. Now, what's different from California versus Maryland or Virginia or Michigan, I'm just mentioning some of the states that were mentioned in this, is the requirements. Some states may say, we'll give you a few months, like you can start providing care, and then you're more than welcome. You can start providing care, and then another state may say, no, don't have that worker go work with a client until after their criminal background check has been cleared. Another state may say, well, even if they do have a record, as long as they don't have these things on their record, then you can have them work for your agency. So more like, okay, they have like a misdemeanor, or okay, then they can work for your agency. You don't need to have any additional not layout, an additional method, any additional things that they need to go through. You can just hire them. Now, most people, when they write a criminal background clearance policy, they may not be very detailed in describing that and sharing how they would implement that. And that's what they would be looking for. So if you are trying to write a policy like this on your own, I really would strongly suggest to you that you do some research or buy an existing policy so that you don't get it rejected. Then you need to have a training plan. Now, training, you would not know what a home care worker would need to be trained on. So how would you write a training policy? If you have never been a healthcare worker, never been a nurse, what would you put in your training plan? So what they're looking for in your training plan, they're looking for the kind of setting that person is going to be in. What do I mean by setting? Are they doing the training during orientation? Are they doing the training as they go along? They have 30 days to complete it, or they have to complete it immediately. What are the subjects? How long the training is going to be? What areas is it covering? How would you know that this person has completed the training? How would you know that they're competent or not before you would have them go work for one of your clients? So it needs to be a plan. So if you're familiar with a business plan has a few sections. So your training plan needs to have a few sections as well. And usually there is an initial training, and then there is an annual training. So I will give you that hint. Then they want you to do, this is also in Part B, a home care organization program description. They want you to describe your services. And then this will be different from what you would see in a brochure or what you would see on your website. They want you to describe services, because what they're looking for here is, are they going to try to get away with doing services that are not approved underneath this license? And if you slip up and you say, oh yeah, we're going to have them do this and this, and that's not underneath the guise of a non-medical home care agency, then they can reject that policy. So instead of giving you guys what to put on it, it probably will be a little bit better for me to tell you what not to put, what not to put on there. And so with the personnel policies, I only mentioned one, but there are several policies underneath that, from hiring to, screening to your interview. It's, personnel policy section can be really, really long. And then the program description can be a little bit long as well. Now, to your surprise, or, to my surprise, that you don't have to have some of the other policies that other states require. You don't, but you should. So you don't necessarily need them for your license, but you should have them operationally. You should have a complaint policy. You should have a quality assurance policy. You should have a policy on what to do in the event of emergencies. Hey, Kim, how are you? You should have those kind of policies, because that will help you with running your home care business, right? Then the last thing is that you need to have your insurance information for your workers' comp or your general liability insurance. So before I move on, I just completed part A and part B. And I'm going to post a link for you guys to get this video if I take it down, and also the requirements. And I'm literally reading this from here. You guys see? All right. Any questions before I move on? Any questions before I move on? Going once. Now, going back to the application, because once you submit part A and part B, you're also supposed to submit your organization's license fee. And California takes first place with being extremely expensive for a license application fee. They are at the top. There are some states that are extremely low. California is extremely expensive. California's home care organization license is $5,603. Now, that is for a 2-year period, where most states will only license you for 1 year, and then maybe they're charging you, like say Illinois is like $1,705. So, like I said, these glitches, $1,705. So if you think about it, that's even though that's still less than California, they're charging you for 2 years. So you're all set for 2 years, but just at the tune of $5,603. And that's it. It's a non-negotiable. So because of that being so high, that's a good question. Thanks for asking. And you're welcome, Gil. After 2 years, that's still the fee. So that's your renewal fee as well. Now, the thing is that California knows what they're doing. They know that this state is extremely lucrative. And when I go through some of the things, you guys are going to be like, they know that people want to get in to be an approved provider, because there's a lot of money to be made in the state of California. So they're not going to lower their rate. Hopefully they don't raise it, but that's the price for renewal as well. Okay. Okay, and make sure I was trying to pull up the laws. I think that was the part where it was hard finding some stuff. Okay, so while I'm pulling this part up, my next thing I want to share with you guys is something that will help you with. I'm going to cover a few states and of what they're charging for non-medical, a few cities and what they're charging for non-medical home care services. So what that means is when you first get started out with your home care business, the first clientele that you're going to market to, or that you should market to, are private pay. Why? Because even though there are people out here that will tell you, oh, they're so hard to get, you do want to have a good combination of private paying clients and Medicaid clients, and if you can get them, insurance clients. So with my home care agency, my first client, 24 hours a day, was a private pay. And that really helped me to, while I was waiting 9 months to get Medicaid approved. So Medicaid can, decide, oh, we're not taking any new providers right now. Medicaid can decide, hey, Tariq, we're not taking any new providers right now. They can say, oh, we're only taking providers in these counties. And then the main thing is that Medicaid has a fixed rate that you cannot negotiate. So once you become a provider, then that's it. They'll and they don't automatically send you clients, and that's what people don't realize. They don't automatically send you clients. So the medium rate for people who have paid privately in the Los Angeles area for non-medical home care starts at $31 an hour. In San Diego, $33.95. In Riverside, $32 an hour. In Santa Barbara, $35 an hour. In Bakersfield, it drops to $28.88. In, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong. Can somebody help me? Salinas, $35 an hour. Merced, California, $32.98. Modesto, $30.25. San Jose, $37.28. In Santa Cruz, $36. In San Francisco, $36. In Stockton, it drops to $28.75. In Vallejo, if I'm pronouncing that right, $31.25. In Napa, $33.75. Yes, Yerba, $30.92. Sacramento, $33 even. And that's all. Redding, $35. Now, these are accurate and up to date. Basically, how I read it to you guys is what it actually is. This information is taken by AARP. They survey seniors pretty regularly. And this is the median cost. So that's the median cost. So the median cost for Sacramento is $33. Cool, you're in Sacramento, it's $33. So that's the median. Then your high could be anywhere from 36 to 38, right? That could be your high. Now, in order to charge more, you got to be able to offer more of value. And so we kind of cover that in the marketing training. To charge more, you have to offer more in your value. So before I move on, does anybody have any questions about, I don't have any other cities because these are the only pins that this site has up here. Anybody have any questions, or did you know that was how much you can charge? Did you think, maybe that's a better question, did you think it was higher or lower than some of the amounts that I quoted? You think it was higher or lower? It basically says that in 2022, the highest was $37.50. Lower. You thought it would be higher? Lower? So it says that the in 2022 it was 37.50. That was the highest. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you what's the cost of your workers. So according to Indeed and Salary.com, the average home health aide salary in California ranges between, what was it, 18? I just saw something else. Oh no, I went the wrong way. The high is $23.45. The low is $17.50. Because it has it broken down in salaries, and most of the time you're not offering them a salary. 1704, sorry, here it says. Now remember, some of your workers are not considered home health aides. They could be considered companions. Companions or homemakers do tend to make a little bit less, but you don't want to pay them too low. Reason why is because, for CNAs, let me look up CNA, home care aide. That will be the same for home care aide. For CNAs, CNAs are making more. But remember, we're faced with this, thing that they just raised the minimum wage. So what you don't want to do, where is the break? It keeps showing me in salary. I'm looking for the average. Okay, so it says $21.96 is the average. That means it could be lower and it could be higher. That's the average. So if ever it says it's average. So, okay, here it is. It says, and this is on Indeed, the lowest. So if it's on Indeed, this is good, because that means that somebody has actually posted a job post for a nursing assistant. The lowest was $15.97. So they're basically adding 97 cents to the minimum wage. And the highest was $26.50. So, and the average was about $20.49. Now, one thing you have to be mindful of when you're operating a home care business, and I don't want to get too much into the operation side or the marketing side, is that you have to be mindful, even if you can't pay this right away, you have to be mindful that you don't want your workers to have other options. You know what? I can just go to Walmart and make just as much money. You know what? I can just go to Chick-fil-A and make this money. I can go here and here and make this much money, especially if you don't have a consistent or reliable schedule for them. So you should definitely show them that there is a range, even if you're only able to pay them the lower part initially. So that's just my advice. Okay. I'm going to go to the cities that, got my little thing. I'm going to go to the cities that, the top cities in California. But first I want to share, while we're talking about income, how much you would charge, and then I'll do an equation. Actually, let me do an equation now. So we said how much we can charge. Sacramento was, let me pull up a calculator. Sacramento, what's a calculator? Was $33. So let's say your initial client, let's say you get an initial client for, let's say 30 hours a week. So we got, because I want to use a very conservative, yes, 33. I want to use a very conservative equation because I always like for you guys to think realistically. So what I am going to use, I'm going to use the average rate for Sacramento was 33. And then I'm going to use 1950 for the pay rate for the worker. How does that sound? And we're going to make this client 30 hours a day. A week. Reason why I'm going to make it 30 hours a week is because I have 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And even though we would love to have an 8-hour a day client, we would love, if it was longer. Well, let's think about some realistic situations, if you guys don't mind. I'm going to help you, and as the singer or the group in Vogue said, I'm going to free your mind. All right. So $33 times 30 hours a week. That is $990 a week. Okay. Times 4 weeks. That's $3,960 a month. Now, if we have that client for 12 months, that one client bought us $47,520. Now, guys, that is the revenue. Can we say that word? Can you guys type that word in? Revenue. That is your revenue, right? 47,520. Okay, so at 1950 times 30 hours, then you're paying out $585 to your worker. Now I use 1950 because even though someone used $15.97 and somebody else is going to use $16 and somebody else is going to use $17 or $18, we're gonna do the highest, because we're gonna run into that one caregiver that's gonna try you and say, well, over here they're paying more, or they're gonna ask for more in general. So you're paying out $585 a week times 4 weeks is $2,340 for the month times 12. So that is $28,080. That in business is called, that is your, let's just say that's your salary. I don't want to get into cost and sell, right? So now, had an alarm that went off. So the revenue was $47,520 minus $28,080. Actually, I want to go back and do it for the month. You're left with $19,040. I'm gonna go back and do it for the month perspective, and then I'll come back and do it for the year. So let's see. One moment. Okay, So just to remind you guys, for the month, the revenue was $3,960. And what you're paying out in salary to this one worker is $2,340. So $39.60 minus $23.40 is $16.20. So $16.20. So let's say this is your first client. $16.20. All right. So what I'm going to do is, even though you can have a office space in your home, I'm going to minus $215 for office expenses. I'm going to minus $150 for the company cell phone. It might be cheaper than that. And I said $150. And then I'm going to do $250 for marketing, because you always got to be marketing, and you definitely should be investing in marketing, especially when you first get started. And that was your expenses, right? Because it's just you, it's your first client. So you're now left with $1,005. Out of that, this is for the month. Out of that $1,005, you could technically minus $500 and pay yourself. And you would still be left with $505 in your business. And then that would be your true profit. So your profit is $505 because you paid yourself. Now, I know how some of you guys are. Some of you, you're like, I'm going to work the case. Fine. I'm going to say to you what I've said to a few other people that I've spoken to recently. If you're going to work the case, guess what? You're not paying yourself $33 an hour. You're paying yourself $19.50. Why? Because you have to treat yourself like an employee, not as someone that can just go in a piggy bank, right? So you would not, and you really want to be disciplined. I would encourage you to be really disciplined, to not be tempted to, because it's your money. You're the owner. It's your money. You can technically take it. But remember, you're building a business. So if you want to think like you're self-employed, you take everything. If you want to think like you're building a business, then you take what is allotted. And you've already set a salary or a rate for that. So that was your next question. And I'm getting into a different, but so just imagine you have, so I'm going to do, so in that scenario, and like I said, this is this one client, and let's say we leave that $505 alone, and we multiply by 12 months, then we have $6,060 of equity that's just sitting in the company. Money I'm not touching. I'm touching for a rainy day. Guess what? Because it's going to rain. Or I am only going to touch when, for any other, I'm going to use it to cover payroll until I get paid or something like that. I'm in Maryland. Can I make this a passive income stream? I have a home health aide certification. I will also be willing to work. You could work privately, but and you would have to start in a home care agency in Maryland. And I do have a free training like this one I'm doing on YouTube for Maryland. You should check out. Okay, so let's go back to getting you interested and motivated about California, because it is a good state. It just seems like it's so hard, right? So let me share some statistics about California. Number one, there are 247,810 seniors. That means they're over the age of 65 that have a fixed income of 75,000 to 90 to 100,000. Then there are 257,834 seniors who have a fixed income of 100,000 to 150,000. Then there are 220,870 seniors in California who have a fixed income of 150,000. So if you're wondering, well, who's going to be able to afford this $37 an hour? Here is your private pay clients. So that's why when I go over the cities, and I will post it on my page, that's how you know, these areas, they have these affluent areas, right? Other things that are helpful. Let me see, what did I do? Let's see. So a total of 11% of the whole population. People will pay. You're welcome. Correct, Gil. The total population in California is 11% are seniors. And out of those 11%, 24% of those seniors live at home by themselves. Could be that their spouse is deceased, could be that they're divorced, with any number of reasons. They live at home by themselves. So that means they could use the help, right? On the alarm going off to do something for my kids. On the lower end, there are some seniors who have low income. And then that's where you would want to apply to be a Medicaid provider, so that when you meet a senior who, as I say, tugs at your heart, you don't have to look at your calculations. You can just say, okay, we have something in place where we can help you. But remember that being a Medicaid provider, you're going to have a lower profit margin. So that extra $500 will probably be more like an extra $150 to $50, because it's really not. They don't really give you a lot of wiggle room in a lot of these Medicaid programs. Next key statistics that will be really beneficial to you is that 20% of seniors are veterans. And if you know anything about the VA, Veterans Affairs, they will pay to help their those who served. They will pay. And the two main services they will pay for is they have what's called like a home care. I think it's called like community care. Well, they will pay approved providers, and just like becoming a Medicaid certified or getting credentialed with Medicaid, you would basically go through the VA and do the same thing and get credentialed through their program. And then that just gives you access to those individuals that would need home care. Then you would have someone that's like a community coordinator that would tell you they're approved for 36 hours a week. Some are approved for 60 hours a week. Depends on their condition. You could have an amputee. You could have someone who is just older and they need help with running errands and other things. So the VA has, they do have a home care service that is awarded to some veterans. And then they also have what's called a respite service. So just breaking down some options for you guys, because 20% is pretty good, for, and that was based upon information from the Census Bureau that they shared that. So I'm going to get to the cities in a second. But when we talk about seniors, we're what makes up the 11%. So now California is a big state, so I'm going to break this down a little bit more. But between the ages of 65 to 74, that's about 2,275,000. Then between the ages of 75 to 84, which may be your key age demographics, it's like 1.3 million, 1,370,000. Then over 85 is about 600,000. And if you guys want to, you can put, I know I have Sacramento and I'll go over that. If you want to put a city in the comments, I will specifically go over that area and let you guys know some statistics for that particular city. If you want to put it in the comments. So good news, the number of people who are age 65 and older that are in California is projected to rise, but like it's projected to go go up higher within the next 15 years. So that means it can go anywhere from 5 million to 8 million. I'm sorry, we're only talking about California tonight, but we will cover Colorado soon. So that means that it has great potential. That means this is a really good state to be in, and Bakersfield, okay, we'll do that, to be in and to really get established. So if you have been thinking about it, this is the time to get in. It's almost like, dang, I wish I would have got a Tesla stock, before, or I wish I would have got an Apple stock, or I wish I would have got Amazon. So you want to get in before there's, a gold rush per se. You want to get in early and then already be there. You don't want to be, I don't want to say last, but okay. So I'm going to go over Bakersfield. Okay, first let me go over the top 60 cities. I know I'm going to butcher some of these. Anaheim, Bakersfield, Berkeley, Carlsbad. Help me if you've heard of some of these cities. Charles Vista. No, I butchered that. Concord, Corona, Casa Mesa. Please forgive me. Downey, El Monte, Elk Grove, Escondido, Fairfield, Fonta, Fremont, Fresno, Fullerton, Garden Grove, Glendale, Hayward, Hunting Beach, Englewood, Irvin, Lancaster, Long Beach, Los Angeles, Modesto, Moreno Valley, Moretta, Norwalk, Oakland, Oceanside, Ontario, Orange, Oxnard, Palmdale, Pasadena, Pomona, Rancho Cucamonga, Richmond. Please forgive me if I butchered this. Riverside, Roseville, Sacramento, Salinas, San Bernardino, San Diego, San Francisco, San Jose, Santa Ana, Santa Clara, Santa Clarita, Santa Rosa, Simi Valley, Stockton, Sunnyvale, Thousand Oaks, Torrance, Vallejo, Ventura, Victoriaville, Visalia, West Covina. I think I pronounced that right. Okay. So let me go back. So those are the top cities according to the Census Bureau, right? Those are the top cities, right? Now let me give you some specific details. I'm gonna start with Bakersville, so you know. Okay, so remember, I had one of my mentees say, "Oh, Sean, I hated statistics in college, but you make it a lot more easier for me to understand." So that's what I want to do. And guess what? I hated statistics in college too, but I needed it to pass. And now it all makes sense. So remember, the whole state is 11%. So now when we go to these individual cities, then 8% of the population in Bakersfield are seniors. 19%, still looking pretty high, of those seniors are veterans. So, sorry, I keep having this alarm go off. Now, remember we were looking at these high net worth areas. So the highest, so they have about almost 3,000 seniors making anywhere from 50,000 to 75,000 a year. This is fixed income, sorry, not making a year. Then about 1,700 seniors with a fixed income of 75,000 to 100,000. Then about 1,690 seniors with a fixed income of 100,000 to 150,000, and about 942 seniors in this city, Bakersfield, who have a fixed income of 150,000 on up. Now let's go to 1690, right? So let's say we have 1,690 seniors who have that fixed income. Let's say out of those seniors, some of them are healthy. So let's say it breaks down to some of them are healthy. So we don't, let's say we now have 1,000. Out of those 1,000, let's say I'm competing, or I hate to use that word. Someone that person can select between my home care agency and another home care agency. Well, 1,000 is still a good number, because really, if I have 20 clients like this example that I gave you guys with my calculator. So remember, the revenue was $47,520 dollars, and we did only 30 hours a week, excuse me. I keep saying a day. 30 hours a week. And some of these people will actually need more. They will actually require more. You'll have someone that will need 12 hours a day, especially if they're have Alzheimer's and they're wanderers and stuff like that. But we're giving a very reasonable equation. So I'm going to take 47,520, this type of client. And I want to say I have now 20 clients like this, that all they have is 30 hours a week. And I charge $33 $33 an hour. Out of those 20 clients, I'm now at $950,000, $400 at the end. So that's almost $1 million in a year from 20 part-time clients. And I know I can do it in Bakersfield, right? Because the math, the data is telling me that I'm pulling from is that I've marketed to 1,000 seniors that have a fixed income of $100,000 to $150,000 a year. Hopefully I'm not missing any comments. All the titties you asked about are on there. Cool. Sorry if I'm just... Sean, can you let us know where you are getting the stats from, that website? Yeah, I will post it with... so for several states like Illinois, Maryland, Virginia, that I've done this free informational thing, I will post all of the information with the video, if that makes sense. Because these are like my little secret statistics. So, but I will definitely share it if you do that. And if you've ever, gotten one of my training, I actually do it for free. So it won't be a charge for it, but I need to put all of the information together with the California video, if that makes any sense. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more cities, and then I am going to take a few questions, and then I'll do Los Angeles, Gail. Okay. Now, Los Angeles, I believe, is probably going to be more urban. So you're probably going to get more Medicaid payers here. But I'm going to give you guys the information because you asked for it. So it says the population of seniors is 10%. Then in LA, then 14% of those seniors are veterans. Still pretty high. So, something about that area that, they like. Now, this is where I'll either be proven right or wrong, which I'm now, feel like I might be about to be proved wrong. Wow. Pretty interesting. All right, guys. Okay, so so we start at 50K to 75K. This is fixed income because it would tell us if these seniors are working. So in LA, there are 30,000 seniors with a fixed income of 50,000 to 75,000. In the LA area, there are 19,259 seniors with a fixed income of 75,000 to 100,000. Then there are 20,273 seniors with a fixed income of 100K to 150K. Then there are 22, I'm gonna spit on that one, 1,000 with a fixed income of 150 or more. Okay, so let's do the same equation. So now, well, you guys know the math. We just need, you want to hit your first, you want to hit your first near million, 20 clients. But here in LA, you would actually have to adjust. Because remember when we went over the rate, LA, they wanted you to charge $31 an hour. So that means you would probably need to have more clients. So $31 an hour, going to keep the same at 30 hours a week. So it knocks you down to 37.20 versus 39.60. Then instead of having $47,520 in revenue and within a year, it's like 44,640. This is for one client, remember? So then you will want to do let's bump it up to 25. So we had our other equation was 20 clients like this. So let's say 25. 25, that will be your goal. Was 1,116,000. 25. Now, I definitely believe you can get more, but 25, that is breaking it. Hey, how are you? Breaking down where you get anywhere from 3 to 4 clients a month. That will be your equation. So 4 times 12. Oh no, actually that's be less than that. That's 2 clients per month. So all you would need to get is 2 clients per month like that. 2.5 to get to do 7 figures. All right, let me do one more. Okay, I did Bakersfield because Bougie_Peace asked for it. I did Los Angeles because Gail asked for it. I'm going to do Elk Grove because Carm Stay Solid asked for it. So try to cover a few different requests. And then I'm not going to do any more cities. Or do you want me to do Sacramento instead? Then I am going to do my final Q&A. And then I'm going to close this out. But how are you guys, as I'm about to pull this information, are you feeling more, Elk Grove's fine, are you feeling more confident on the process of getting licensed in California? Now, let me tell you this before I go to Elk Grove, because I just recently spoke to one of the reviewers, and this is something I like to do. Either I have somebody from my team or I myself, because I actually know what kind of questions to ask them. We'll call random states and we'll ask them if there's been any changes to their licensing process, how fast is their licensing process. Sometimes they change the regulations and they won't post it, and then you will never know. So I have certain questions that I know to ask because, I've been in the business since 2006, right? So there is a good chance that you can get licensed if you're not already licensed within 6 months. What will make you not get licensed in 6 months is not having the requirements that are listed for Part A and Part B, and that your policies and procedures that you have to submit are not in compliance. And so then what that does is that the person that's assigned to review your application, they'll say, oh, you got, out of these 10 things, we need you to fix 6. And so then you need you to fix 6, and then they will send it to you, back to you, and they'll give you a certain period of time to correct it. But then now the clock is ticking. So then you send it back to them, and then now you don't automatically get reviewed. Now you get put back into the pile. And that pile could be somebody that just submitted their application, or it could be somebody else that also needed some corrections, but they just turned theirs in before yours. So that's why I always say there are a lot of things you can do on your own. A lot of times the policy procedures are something that I would not advise that you do on your own, because that's where I see people make the most mistakes. Most people do come to me because they have actually worked with a consultant, a coach, or somebody, and they bought some policies and procedures, and they did not get approved. Did not get approved, right? And so my heart goes out to them, because that's a big part of getting licensed. And if you have your heart set on being an owner of a home care agency for whatever reason, then, it kind of like just, dims your fire. So just be mindful of that can delay the process when it's anywhere between 3 to 6 months. And for the person that asks about how soon can you get licensed in Virginia, the same amount of time. So lastly, we end with Elk Grove. 8% of the population are seniors. Out of that 8%, 22% are go VA. Go VA. Now that's my VA. I definitely recommend that you become a Veteran Affairs provider here in California. Ooh, okay, so looking pretty good financially. Starting with 50K to 75K, there's about 1,280 seniors who have a fixed income of 50K to 75K. There's 653, not 6,000, 653 who have a fixed income of 75K to 90 to 100,000. 815 who have a fixed income of 100K to 150K, and about 403. Now let me see if I can go back. Do we remember? That was Elk Grove. I'm trying to remember what was the going rate for Elk Grove. If it was listed on here, to see if our equation fits. So while I'm looking for Elk Grove, remember when we went over this earlier, the medium rate for homemaker and or home health aid services for LA, which is the city we covered, was $31 an hour. Then, where is Elk Grove? I see it. Sacramento was 33, which we used in the first equation. Elk Grove didn't make it to. I think it didn't make it to So we'll do it off of Riverside, 32. Still not that much of a difference. We probably can use the same equation for LA. So instead of getting 20 clients to, hit seven figures within the year, we need to get about 25. And 25 clients at only 30 hours a week, and you're going to get a client that's going to have more, right? You're going to get a client, you're going to have more. So that's going to take your numbers up even more, because you might have one client that has 5 or 6 hours a week. You may have another client that's 12 hours a week, 12 hours a day, excuse me. So it's going to have a variety, but the most important thing is that we gave a realistic situation, and then we accompanied that with paying our worker well. Because if we pay our worker well, and he or she, is pretty satisfied with working with this client, then we're not going to have to do a lot of work on the back end. Our office is not going to have to keep recruiting someone to work with that client. We're not going to have to keep having to fix staffing issues, because that case is set, because we decided to measure out our revenue with the salary, and then we still have a good amount of profit. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it was up there either. Okay. So if you guys don't have do you have any last questions? You put in the comments. I think I covered everything that okay. Forgot. Post your questions, but this was my last thing. So I literally go off the top of my head. These are the top chronic conditions, or these are the top things that people need help with in the state of California. The most clients I have had, the most clients I have had was about, I want to say 67. I have multiple clients that are 24 hours a day. So those actually average out to be like 3 clients in one, because they're 24 hours a day. So I'm talking to you guys as clients, but when you, kind of count the clients, but as you graduate, and I do appreciate you asking that question, as you graduate into becoming a home care CEO, we actually count hours, and they're called billable hours, not clients. And I love that question, because that's where I was when I first got started. I'd be like, oh, if I could only get up to 30 clients, I got 22 now. If I can get up to 30, and then my initial home care business mentor, she had me counting clients too. But then when she passed on, and someone that was more financially savvy came into my life and took the place, as my mentor, he got me to focus on the billable hours, which I learned that more successful home care agencies than me, that's how they build their revenue. That's how they did their marketing. So I only gave it to you guys by the clients, because I felt like it would be too complicated for me to explain the billable hours. So that's why I say I love that question, and you gave me this opportunity to explain that to you. And not because I thought that you wouldn't understand. I just didn't want to go too far over your head. But I really appreciate that question. So just imagine having 10 24-hour a day clients. Like I said, that's like 3 clients in one, right? So I am with the top conditions in the state of California. Now, this is why they need you. This is why they need you. This is why they need you. Heart disease, that could be heart attack, high blood pressure, but mostly heart disease is associated with some kind of heart attack. Maybe they had triple bypass surgery. Maybe they've had multiple heart attacks. They're recovering from that. Next, number 2 is cancer. You guys know, and then Gail just took advantage of that, that I have a series on how to market to individuals with cancer. And this information comes from, again, the California Department of Health, where they track annually the number 1 causes of death. And then they also, you can find this information on either that website, or you can find it on the CDC's website. And so this information is not hidden. Heart disease, cancer, number 2, stroke. It's number 3. Stroke, people need all types of help after a stroke. They need all, I won't even mention somebody's name. Then number 4, Alzheimer's disease, very high in the state of California. This is where you can really get that cancer care and that Alzheimer's care. If you market it right, this is where you can charge your premium rates. Chronic respiratory disease, that could be COPD, stuff like that. And there is a way to help with that, even as a non-medical home care agency. That's your top 5. Then 6 is accidents. Do you know I got several clients who were in a motorcycle vehicle accident, or had a worker's accident, and now they need home care. They need home care. They need somebody to cook for them. They need somebody to feed them because they had an accident and they have a spinal issue. Yep, TBI. That's right. Gail was in that training too. But accidents could be motorcycle accident. It could be a variety of accidents, but that's number 6 in your state. Diabetes. Now, diabetes doesn't seem like it could be a big need, but if it's number 7 as far as causing deaths throughout the state, then it could be some people might need a lot of personal care, especially the seniors that are older. Just imagine living by yourself, and you don't know if maybe your sugar levels are too low or too high, and then you pass out and nobody's there. 8 is pneumonia. 9 is liver disease. And they didn't have a 10. So even though I do not like ending on a odd number, that's just what it was. And that's the most up-to-date information that I got from both the California Department of Health and the CDC. Again, you can look it up for yourself, or you can take my word, because so far I've told you guys more than probably anybody else has shared with you. And it is my pleasure to help you with doing, making a wise decision and knowing all of the details you need to know about starting a home care business in your state. Oh, that's a good point. Thank you so much. And those who have lost limbs because of diabetes and need home care, I'm assuming. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So tonight we covered so much. We covered the application. We covered how to, what's the requirement. We cover what will probably get your application delayed. And, you want to fall more in that 3-month approval stage versus that 6-month or more. So if you keep having multiple submissions and they're like, you didn't get it right, then they'll make you reapply. And that wouldn't be good at all. So We went over the average rate for certain cities of which you can charge privately. We went over the average rate of what you would be paying a homemaker or a home health aide. We went over the top cities where you can be most successful. We broke down 3 or 4 cities and statistically what those numbers look like as far as are there people there that can afford your services. We broke down an equation of a client with 30 hours a week and how duplicating that kind of client, in a sense, can generate your home care business its first 7 figures in business. So, covered a lot, and now I'm going to go get my kids because it's time to make sure that they're asleep. So I can't stay on any longer, but I thank you for joining me tonight. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me, and I will be sure to post the link so you can get all of these other links by tomorrow. Okay? And make sure I have your email address if I don't already have it. Okay? This will not be saved. This will not be saved. That's why I said email me. It's going to be saved for probably about 20 minutes until I make sure my kids are asleep. Thank you so much. You're more than welcome. Have a good night.